What if the fear after a break, you've gone away, isn't about the skill at all? See, coming back from a break always felt like a test that I hadn't studied for every single time. The dread will creep in as if when the return date got closer. Hi, I am Nene, and I help people become the person their goals require of them. And everything I share here, I have lived first. And if you've ever come back to a skill after time away and panic, that is, you wouldn't, that you won't be able to do it anymore, then this video is for you. The dread for me that creeps in every time the return date is coming close. Say I'm visiting family or I'm going away. So normally I tend to go to the States to visit like my siblings and stuff. And I would love the time. But when you're checking the calendar, it's almost time. And then it's always this feeling of like, oh my goodness, the dread of would I be able, as for me, a sign language interpreter, would I be able to wave my hands and would people understand? If someone starts waving, would I understand what they're saying? Like, how am I going to deal with this? Like, it was a constant thing for me of like, what am I going to do? How am I going to understand them? How, if this happens? And it was same thing every single time in the early, uh, I was gonna say early time of my career, like during those early days. It was always a worry of when I go out, it will go away and come back, like, and then to the point of to the very first few appointments, few assignments, I'm like on edge and like gripping and figuring out and we're talking back when there was nothing, all this like AIs and apps and all these things that I didn't have anything. It was textbooks back then. And it was just like the long yard and it was always the same feeling day in, day out. And you know the funny thing, my husband will always reassure me that, like you know what, you always say this thing all the time, and you're always fine. And even with him saying that, I still feel like, oh my gosh, though, still, I'm not feeling this. I'm not sure. I don't know how, not knowing what was the truth for me. And guess what? Believing it, they're two completely different things here. And this went on for years. This feeling of, okay, I'm coming back now. I have to get back into the flow. I have to like, make sure that I am able to do my jobs and be able to perform. And it's like every first couple of ones, the same feeling. And it honestly was really not about the language slipping away. If you look at it in hindsight, it was never about like, okay, even though back then it felt like that was the case, that when I came back from a break, when I came back from a holiday or whatever, like the what I have learned has just gone off the part, and I don't know how to wave my hands anymore. And I would just be having this grip feeling of like, okay, they're going to find out. They're going to catch me out. Like I've been away too long. Now I have to get back into the flow. I have to like figure out and understand what this person's about to say. Like the dread of it. Who am I going to see my first couple of assignments? The tense, I'm even feeling it right now. My goodness. Of that sensation of the worry that this is the thing. And here's the thing. I was speaking to a colleague who went away, and she's a coach. She coaches like say I can't say that word. Let's just say she's a coach. And she was talking about the dread she's feeling of like how she can start like doing discovery calls, and like she's been away and she's rusty, and like the first one just went like just back in then. And I just like, oh my goodness, this is not just a me thing, or it's not just an interpreted thing. Like other people in other industry also feel the same way. After a while, if you have a skill, you're coming back to it and you're thinking, oh my gosh, And then the realization, it is about the identity. You see, it's the identity that was giving me all that hives. Like I tell you, I would have all this feeling of tension. Like instead of enjoying the last couple of days of the holiday or the last couple of days of the break, it's more like, would I be able to do my job when I go back? Would I be able to understand? Would I be able to figure out what's gone on? And like all this, you see, it was how I saw myself. The identity. Now we have technology, right? We have social media where you could actually keeping on dated with like what's going on and like testing self and like going into and seeing people signing and all those things. Back then there was nothing like that. And when you look at how things were then and how it is now, you can have that gentle exposure while you're away through content, through other platform, through reactivation, all those things. But the most important thing is, for me back then, it was working on the belief itself. You see, I felt that I wasn't that good to be able to retain what I've learned, or to be able to, that I am capable of holding that information or that knowledge or that skill that I've developed and thinking, okay, it'll be gone because I don't have anyone, as a sign language interpreter, I don't have anyone who's deaf in my family, or I don't have any association or friends or people I've hung out with, like to keep using the skill. And I feel like, oh no, I'm going to lose it now. And now I have to go back and be this person. It was the belief about that was gripping me, that was holding me, that was making me feel like sometimes I felt like I was just going to like vomit, like the feeling of like dread of, please don't expose me here in my head, talking in my head. Oh, don't do what I cannot handle right now. It was all the stories and the belief I was putting on self, thinking that I couldn't, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't capable, you know? So I had to work on that belief that when I have taken a break, when I am not signing or interpreting, I still have it though. It's still there. So working on changing how I saw myself in those situations and changing how I was feeling, because honestly, from the big, even while I was in training, right up to when I qualified, a few years in, I was still feeling the same way. Like, oh my gosh, we're going back now. I have to go back into work. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can't. I like all these different things was coming up for me. Right. And it's knowing and changing how I am seeing myself in that situation and understanding that I really have the skills, the capability. It is my nervous system trying to keep me safe into like, okay, just in case we get. But the thing is, like, the way it's keeping me safe is actually making me worry, making me more like unsure. So with the work, I had to remind myself that everything that I need is within me and within my reach. The skill has been developed, it is there. I get to tap into it. It's in me. I feel like in those moments that it's an external thing. When it is already getting part of who I am, right? It's already part of who I am. So working on that belief, working on myself, Not just repeating the reassurance that, oh, it's going to be okay, it's fine, da, da, da. Or somebody else telling me, oh, you've done this before. No, I had to do it for self. I had to change the way I see things, how it flowed for me, in knowing that I am capable, that I am worthy, that, okay, if that's the feeling coming up, maybe I get to um watch some few things to like bring back my like muscle thing going on, like just maybe having conversation and just in my head, how am I going to interpret that, like what do I get to do? This is what I started doing to help me started feeling okay, like no, I can go away, I can like just relax and can switch off and then come back and come back in. Because if we just stay in that feeling, we are telling our nervous system that this is okay, even though we don't feel right. We feel like, yeah, this is how we roll. We get nervous like this. We worry like this. This is how we are when we're about to come back to work or when we're about to go back into a meeting. So we need to retrain, rewire our brain, rewire the system, because the skill is always there. The skill was always this, that never left. It was just how I saw myself. It was how I was thinking about the situation. It was how I was handling what was going on. When I started changing and reminding myself when the thought comes, because the thought's going to come in like with more force than ever. When you're now doing the work, it would like, no, Nene, we're always nervous. Like, what about if they don't get it? What about if you don't understand? I just had to say, like, all I need is within me now. All I have is within me. I'm trained. I get to like look, then remind myself, all these years you've been going away and coming back and you survived it and you were good. I've seen the evidence as well to show that, oh, you've gone back and like you did it. Oh, you'll be fine then. And then the nervous like, oh, okay, yes, we were fine. Yes, we're fine in that situation, when we went away that way. Yes, we're fine. The thing is, we tend to forget. We just think we're just in that situation, this break right now, this thing, and this is the worst one yet, and I can't handle, and I can't whatever. When there is evidence of you were fine, you did it, you've got the skill. There might be like an awkward wobble or whatever, but you caught on. You stood, you like went in place. When I changed how I saw the situation of the panic of like, would I remember? And then reminded myself that, hey babe, you've done the training. You're doing the work. You're in motion. You've got this. Whew, gradually things started like anchoring, like, yeah, I've got the skills within me. And if not, it's within my reach. I can like, jump on a call, like let's do a quick thing here, let's do that, da, 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 and reassure. So if you've ever felt that dread, that feeling of like, oh my gosh, I've been away for 2, 3, even a day or whatever, that how long before it starts showing up for you, know that it has nothing to do with the skill level or whatever it is that you have. It has to do with the belief behind it, who you are, how you see yourself in that scenario, that situation. If you feel like, oh my gosh, it is impossible, I'm not sure I can, there is no way, I don't feel capable, I don't feel worthy, your brain will go out there and look for evidence to see, this is why when you go away, you mess up. This is why when this happens, it shows up. So now that you're away, you're panicking. Oh, I have to do this and do that and do. This is why it is so important to be anchored in yourself, in you as how you show up for the work and how things are. So that when whatever comes in, remember in previous video, we talked about how you, like, how you are present before, during, and after the assignment, the booking, the situation. So with that knowing and with that, like, okay, I have these tools in place to help me with this situation. We don't have to worry so much when we're away. We can truly be present there and truly let our hair down or just relax and enjoy whatever that is, than having half of you there and the other half is like, oh my gosh, we're going back soon. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Get back to present. Get back. The beginning, it might be like a constant, you're like having this banter in your head, but over time, it then becomes, now it's not even a thing for me right now. I'll go away and I come back, I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's get back on the horse. Like, where are we going to? Because I've so anchored myself in the knowing that I can always pull it out of me. I can always be sent. I could, like, we'll figure, everything is figure outable. Everything is. Whatever that situation is, we know, like, the dynamics, the who we're interpreting for, like the whole whatever, then it will figure it out. It will come. When you have that belief in self that you can pull it out of self, than thinking, oh, it's out there, I need it back in me. It's a whole different ballgame. It's all in. It's in you. You have it. You train, you're learning, you keep rehearsing. Remember the difference between practice and rehearsal. Rehearsal, like, yeah, we're having that emotional charge to whatever it is that we're learning, and it is locked in. So having that knowing that it is there, we can then relax in the weekend away, in the travel, in the whole thing that we're doing. And once that's over, we get back into this one and be present for this. And we just go with the flow. That's what it is. That's how it is. So have you ever felt this, like coming back to something after a break and dreading whether you still be there? If you still be able to, like, hold space, if you still be able to, like, do whatever. Yeah, let me know in the comment section, because I genuinely want to know if I'm the only one. When I recently spoke to this person, was like, oh my gosh, I felt like this was a thing for me. And this is how I kind of like managed to get past it. So yeah, it'd be great to know, like, if what's showing up for you, what's happening. And if you need support in figuring out, okay, what are the things that, because you remember we talked about the toxic 10, we talked about all the different things and like how those things show up. Because for me, it could be like self-loathing was my number, like one of the top things for me. I truly did not, there was no love for self. There wasn't that. Somebody else's self-doubt of their capability, whatever. And once we know what that is for you, we get to then figure out. Because the only, like, if not, we'll be in this loop of keeping on feeling like you go away. Like it's a constant. And then the end of the day, it's like, oh my gosh. And then you go back the next day again. Let's break that cycle. Let's break that thing. Yeah. That was my truth for so long, for so many years. And now no, it doesn't even cross my mind. Does it mean that every booking I go now is like, oh, flow? Like, no. But what it does mean is whatever situation comes in front, I'm able to face it and handle it without it meaning anything about my being. It's just the moment, it's the situation, it's the time. It's not me as a person, as my identity, or like how I now go on to move on and relate to my family or relate to other things or whatever. It's the moment. Having that understanding and having that knowing can be so freeing. That you go into different things, you go into different spaces, knowing that, hey, bring it on. Let's go. Let's do what we need to do. while we venture on. So if you're needing that support, if you're needing that, because this, now you know, you can do that. You know, you have the awareness now, you don't have to do anything about it. Or you can now have like, okay, now for me, this is how it shows up, and okay, I get to do this about it, or whatever that is. When we come on board, we have that discussion, we figure out, okay, here is your thing. Now, what do we want instead? How do we want to relate, and how does that get to look like moving forward? So yeah, subscribe if you haven't done so already, because we do this every single day. We show up here every single day, and I really want you to understand that your voice matters, and this is your time. We have one life to live. We need to live it to the fullest. We need to live it without the feeling of dread, or without the feeling of like we're on what's the word? I was gonna say court, like you're in front of juries, whatever. You just do you moving forward. All right. Till tomorrow. Bye for now.